Blog Talk Radio.
Let's go. It's time to attack. We the smartest, fastest, and most vicious. We gonna put them in their place. You coming on out? We're gonna play.
Andy's gonna fire deep. Puts it there inside the 10. Throws to Superman. Good route by Edelman. Now they come on a reverse to the near side on a quick run.
It's NFL football time.
And I got to echo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue, the show where we give you nothing but in-depth analysis of NFL football, and we are excited. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan. I'm here at the round table with my partner. We got Fred Purdue in the building. Freddie, what's up?
What's going on, man? Coming off of a tough loss on Monday. I'm kind of down in the dumps off of this, man. 1-2.
Yeah, that might just mean that the Dolphins about to get their fins clipped because somebody's mad.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me I'm all right. Hell no.
Yeah, I definitely expected Belichick to go in there and spank his pupil, even though it was in his pupil's home. Little bit of a surprising outcome for me. But, Fred, come on, dude. You're a Patriots fan, you know, and as much as I don't want to admit these things or acknowledge these things, you hear this every year, man. The Patriots will lose 2 early games. Everybody says that the roof is falling, the sky is falling, and then, you know, 4 or 5 months later, the Patriots are running out of the tunnel in the damn Super Bowl. I mean, I know at some point it has to end, but until it actually happens, until you see it with your own eyes, you'll be all right. They always do right by you. You'll be all right. All right, so let's get this one underway, man. It was a wacky week in the NFL last week. Like Fred opened with, the Patriots took an L on Monday night to the Lions. You had a few upsets out there. The Chiefs are still rolling along, doing what they do, at least what they do for now.
At some point,
we have experience with Andy Reid-led teams. Like, they could fade out at any moment now. Or they'll just wait till a playoff game and fade out in the first half and not make any adjustments in the second half and lose that way. But either way, the fade out's coming. Most likely, I'll say. All right, so let's get into
You forgot one thing. You forgot one important, and I know these fans. You know how these fans are. You got to put some respect on their name. Put some respect on the Cleveland Browns name. They got a win last week.
The Cleveland Browns won their Super Bowl. Kudos to everybody in Cleveland. You know what? All jokes aside, like, how can you not say that that's not the most loyal, most passionate group of fans in the entire NFL? Everybody claims to have the best fans in the NFL. The city I'm from, I know that we're passionate, but it's okay for me to admit that there may be a more passionate bunch, a more loyal bunch out there. Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns and this organization gives this fan base not a damn thing to be happy about, not a damn thing to root for, not a damn thing to cheer for. It's just blunder after blunder after blunder. And then when they win a game, for the first time in over 600 days, these people party like it's 1999, man. You have to give these people props, man. They have been tortured. You have to give them props, man. So, you know, to tongue-in-cheek jokingly say, oh, Cleveland won their Super Bowl, I know if there was a Cleveland fan sitting right next to me right now, he'd be like, you're damn right. You're damn right. This is the first time we won a game in a very long time, and we didn't win too many before we won that one game. So this is like 2 wins in how many? So kudos to that Cleveland fan base, man. Y'all are the most loyal fan base that I've ever seen in my life in any sport. Shout out to y'all. All right, man. Thanks for reminding me of that. We definitely had to get that one out the way. All right, man. Let's jump into this coming week, and also shout out to the Fitzmagic that looked like it wore off. But if you're a Fitz fantasy owner, you still had a good day because he spent the rest of the game throwing for big yards and touchdowns because of the holes that they got in because of his mistakes early in the game. So, and I just heard this stat Fred, I didn't know, and I watched the game. I didn't realize that he threw 3 interceptions on 3 consecutive throws.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you
did.
probably do. You're down in that area, so sure you done broke down the whole game 65 times. Amazing.
Yeah, this game was a wacky one, and it was wet and it was nasty, and the Fitz magic wore off really early, and I was loving it because Big Ben was my fantasy quarterback, and he almost got me back out of a 40-point hole. I came up a little short, but he almost got me out of a 40-point hole. So
I think and you and I know, Fred, I mean, you cover football on all levels, but we know, especially on the NFL level, the hardest thing to do in football is to keep a lead. A big lead, because you get complacent, you start trying to be friends with the clock. That doesn't work if the other team is playing great run defense. Exactly, and then they're throwing every down to try to get back into it, being out of character, which makes me think sometimes, like, why don't teams play with this urgency all the time? If you could throw the ball and complete passes and score when they know that you're going to throw the ball, why can't people just come out this aggressively and just punish teams all the time? I don't get it. But anyway, we know that the hardest thing to do in football is to keep a lead. And I think Fitzpatrick did one thing for himself in this game. I think I'm not even going to say earned, he bought himself at least another week, even with Jameis coming back, just because of the comeback effort. They probably said, okay, he got us in this hole. Let's see how he reacts. Because I think, in the first half, I was already saying, it's all a race. Jameis got his job back. He's probably at home smiling. But I think, and it's official. Fitz is going to be the starter on Sunday. But I think that second half bought him at least another week. So we'll see how that plays out, man. But we got some quick slants for you guys, and the first one we want to talk about is not a good one, man. Jimmy Garoppolo, torn ACL, out for the season. What were your thoughts on this one, Fred?
It hurts to see, but I don't want to say he caused it on himself, but he caused it on himself because he was getting ready to run out of bounds, and this is where the stupid tackle rule where we can't touch a quarterback a certain way. It was all muddled in all of this. Jimmy's running out of bounds, and he sees an opportunity to kind of skirt back in bounds a little, get a couple extra yards, doing his best RG3 impression instead of just getting out of bounds like a smart quarterback does. And he plants his leg, and he pulls up, and you instantly know when a quarterback pulls up like that, or any player pulls up, and then he just gets belted out of bounds.
You hit the nail on the head with that comment when you said this is where the tackle rule comes into effect. Because, they claim to not protect these quarterbacks when they're runners, but we all know that that's garbage as well. Jimmy saw an opportunity because he knows, man, I'm on the sideline, I'm next to the sideline, but even if this guy hits me when I try to get an extra yard, they might throw a flag and say it was a late hit or whatever. So, yeah, he instead of just running straight out of bounds, he tries to cut. Like you said, as soon as he cuts, you saw what happened. And to add insult to injury, literally, he gets popped on the play. and that's not even all of it. Like, that's not even the whole thing. Another crazy part about this is when he cut, he stepped out of bounds anyway. So he tries to slow down and make a cut and get an extra yard. He steps out of bounds. He pops his ACL, and then he takes a great hit for good measure. So it was like everything working against Jimmy G on this particular play. This is the part of the game I hate. I hate to see people get injured, you know what I'm saying? Not at the expense of the rules, though. So, we're going to talk about that again a little bit later. Injuries like, ACL, stuff like that, because most of these happen without contact. So this is the part of the game that I dislike, seeing people out. But like I said, I really don't like to see it at the expense of the game and the expense of the rules, because we talked about it last week, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. We think the NFL is going a little too far with these roughing the passer rules. All right, so San Francisco and their prospects without Jimmy G. I know that's a difficult question to answer, Fred, because we really weren't 100% sure on their prospects with Jimmy G.
Exactly.
Where do you adjust? Because we did a preview show. Where do you adjust the record now without Garoppolo in the fold?
I was already not super high on them already. I said, if I remember correctly, I said they were an 8-8 type of team.
Right.
Maybe 9-7 if you got lucky with a swing game here or there. Jimmy G does some magic and something crazy happens. Now, this early in the season, because you can't recover from something like that. And it's not like they just have the type of team like when Tom Brady went out, when the Patriots were 11-5 back in 2008, where you have a team in place where you just put a half capable quarterback in there and he can just man the ship and hope you make the playoffs. This team has a very, very tough road ahead, and it starts with a really good defense in the LA Chargers. You get Aaron Rodgers coming to town. You got to go to Aaron Rodgers. You got to see the Rams at least twice. Even if you did make the playoffs, you might see them again. You got Jameis and company coming. You got the Seahawks. I mean, this. I don't
the crazy part, Fred, the Chargers game is their best chance to win. And, like I said, we don't know if they were even going to be able to beat the Chargers with Jimmy Garoppolo. The only reason I say it's their best chance to win is because we know how teams can get up. The next man up mentality, it's a surefire thing for one game. Now, some teams, shout out to my Eagles, you could take that through the rest of the season, through the playoffs, and into the Super Bowl. But we know for every team, the next man up mentality is at least prevalent in your locker room for that next game, or even for that next half if your quarterback gets hurt early enough in the game. The backup will come in, he'll look good, there's no film on him, or look okay if he's not even capable of looking good. But after this 1 week of adrenaline-filled football and next man up and everybody's hype and everybody's screaming, and they might be able to be competitive with the Chargers, what's going to happen the next few weeks when everything calms down and that murderer's row that you just named, steps up every week?
Oh, and by the way, Khalil Mack gets sandwiched in between there at the end, too. So, For me, when I look
then
at
you don't even have to say the Bears, you just say Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Khalil Mack.
Mack coming to town.
And the Bad News Bears, yeah. I mean, this team, C.J. Beathard he was a capable college quarterback, but if I'm the 49ers, NBA approach and just say, let's tank it. Because at the end of the day, you get a the worse where the NFL gets it right, they replenish good, or they attempt to replenish bad teams with good players by, if you have a bad record, you get the top pick in the draft. Go ahead. Let Roger Goodell call your name to that stage in May and say, with the first pick in the NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers select, and go from there. It's not going to be a quarterback, so there's going to be quarterback-dependent teams. This is just me with my GM hat on. I know there's going to be quarterback-dependent teams. I know that there are going to be teams that may want to move up. Hold that number one pick for ransom and go pull a Bill Belichick and go get you, I don't know, maybe 2 first-rounders, maybe a high second-rounder this year, a decent second-rounder next year, and maybe somehow finagle a third-rounder or a sixth-rounder or something, a starter or a developmental player, maybe a running back, because, by the way, you're starting running back toward his ACL too. So maybe you might want to look towards the future. Just saying.
Well, Kyle Shanahan was like a damn high school basketball coach this Tuesday when he called a damn near an open tryout. He invited 7 quarterbacks to come do a group workout. Those quarterbacks consisted of Kyle Allen, Kellen Clemens, Matt Sims, Tom Savage, T.J. Yates, Landry Jones, and E.J. Manuel. None of these guys were
all of them in his league.
Right, but none of these guys were signed, and they ended up bringing up Nick Mullins from the practice squad to be the backup to Beathard. So good luck to the 49ers, man. It's unfortunate that something like this happened, especially in a year, where your quarterback was in show improve mode because of all of the money you gave him. So there's a lot of pundits, a lot of critics out there wondering if he's really that good. and right when he gets to, into the season where he can show you if he's that good or not, this happens. So, I mean, for him, okay, that's cool. He has an excuse to not live up to that contract right now. Even next season he comes back. We don't always expect people's best after an ACL injury, so he still has the excuse. So he's probably cool because he's getting his bag. But the organization, that clock is ticking on him. All right, but get well soon, Jimmy G, man. Nobody wanted to see you go down like that. More time with porn stars, though. So don't do nothing I wouldn't do.
It's funny you say that. Every major athlete that gets the porn star, somehow they end up with major injuries. What's going on in the water out in Pornhub?
Come on, man. We know women make weak knees, man. They make your knees weak. It's a given, man. No sex on game day. That's been a rule for every sport forever. All right, so speaking of the 49ers, a former 49er who we believe was blackballed has been signed. No, I'm not talking about Colin Kaepernick. I'm talking about safety Eric Reid, who's been signed to a one-year deal with the Panthers. Thoughts?
Man, this one, is it out of necessity? Because defensively their back end isn't great. Or is it, it's really bad. It's really, really bad that it took this long for this guy to get on the field. His contract will be up to $2 million. The Panthers need some help on that back end. He hasn't played in a while, so we'll see if he actually stays the course. He's one of the more higher paid safeties, even with $2 million a year guaranteed. He's in between those guys, those rookie guys, and those high rated free agents. I think this will help him bring a good physicality to the game. I don't know how football ready he is because you can't just up and play football. It just doesn't work that way. You haven't had a true off season. You don't really know the playbook. Things are going to be a little bit different, and he's not one of those safeties that was he was kind of a reckless tackler. These new rules now, it could be a long road early for him, but I think if he stays healthy, he'll add some depth. Carolina, right. I'm not sure defensively how good they are though. Still kind of.
They were in desperate need of depth though. They were down to 3 healthy safeties, before Denoris Searcy was placed on injured reserve. So yeah, they definitely. I don't think Eric Reid will be the only defensive back that they're going to be picking up. They definitely need some depth. I think this says a whole lot about their new owner. What's his name? Tepper. I think it says a lot about him because this was an organization, of course, founded by Jerry Richardson, who a lot of the players, he was kind of controlling. I hate using the slave and the slave master mentalities, but he had that kind of I care about you type thing, but trying to keep you in line. I mean, you remember when he told Cam Newton not to get any tattoos or anything like that and kind of turn Cam Newton into a company man. This is the same guy who insisted that the NFL shield remained in the center of the field next to their logo, from 96 until he sold the team. David Tepper immediately took that off, and now, in a climate where we all assume, and probably assume rightly so, that Eric Reid was blackballed along with Colin Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying? In this kind of climate, he went out and told his organization it's okay to sign this guy. So, he didn't go for the big fish, but we'll see what happens if Cam ever goes down, see what kind of balls he really has. But it's a good look for them, you know what I'm saying? The changing of the guard is obvious. Jerry Richardson was a little bit of a different owner, and you can kind of tell that things are a little different in Carolina right now. But as far as on the field, like you said, Eric Reid, we don't know exactly what he'll be able to do because we haven't seen him play for so long. But adding that name to your roster, it could only help, especially when you're in desperate need of players at the position right now. So we'll see how it goes, man. All right, so it's time to go deep. So wide receivers, let's get to the outside. Let's get to where you're going. Let's run some deep posts here. Same topic as last week. We're going to talk about the roughing the passer rules because this week's spin, we're just talking about the fact that after all of the complaining that's been going on, they're holding their ground. Now, after 3 weeks, there have been 34 roughing the passer calls. Last week, in the same 3-week span to start the season, there were 16. So the calls have more than doubled. And most of the ones I end up seeing are complete bogus and shouldn't be called. They're asking guys to wrap and turn, pulling the quarterback down on you. So basically they're telling you, let's go ahead out there and try hard to risk injuring yourself by pulling a 6'5", 250-pound quarterback down on your ribs instead of hurting him because we invested more money in him. You defensive ends, you make a lot of money as well, but these are the guys that everybody pays to see. If you get hurt, you break your ribs, you'll be all right. You're a big guy. This is what they're telling them. Fred, what are your thoughts? They're out here telling people, look, this is the way it's going to be. Get used to it. Adjust. That's what every referee has been telling everybody in every interview since the complaints have started. What are your thoughts?
I don't know what a tackle is. I don't know what a sack is. I've seen worse in the Miami Hurricane, and this is going to a college game, but I saw a tackle that looked worse than anything I would have called that. A Miami player just completely grabbing a dude by the shoulder pads and tossing him by his head, and they didn't call anything in the college game, but you barely touch it. You chest bump a guy, and it's a penalty now. I mean, to the point that we have a instructional video, which I know you guys can't physically see me, but I'm watching this video as you were talking and looking at what they call roughing the passer isn't wrong. It's like the complete inverse. Everything. It's really bad, and to the point where even Gerald McCoy was like on Monday night was like, "My bad, Ben, my bad. I didn't even really hit you like that, but my bad." And is it really to that point? I mean, I've seen more. I think I've seen more roughing the passer penalties in that one game than I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was egregious to the point I just turned the game off because it just ruined the experience. And it's getting worse because at first it was, okay, I could halfway believe maybe, wrapping your arms completely around a quarterback and driving him into the ground. Okay, there's a little malicious intent. It's a physical game. But when you literally just hit a guy from behind like you're supposed to, I mean, where are you supposed to hit him? You can't hit him low. You can't hit him high. Also, I can't spear him. So what can I do? Wrap my arms around you and bear hug you to the ground. The laws of physics say you cannot it's not physically possible to roll and not hurt yourself, like you said. I mean, it is. The people that make these rules are people that have never played the game and sacked the player running 100 miles an hour.
Exactly. I mean, these guys they've obviously never played tackle with their brother or son in the living room. Talking about come on, it's just very unrealistic what they're asking guys to do in the time frame of a split second. You get free from the 350-pound lineman that's blocking you. Maybe get past a little chip of his 220-pound running back that's helping out. Then you find yourself face-to-face with the quarterback, but in a split second, you're supposed to think to yourself, oh, man, I have to hit him and somehow not have my body weight fall on him, or I have to hit him and then wrap around and bring him down on top of me. This is not realistic. And I think it was Harrison who made former Steeler, who made a great point. You guys are watching this from slow motion frames. Of course, when you slow it down into those type of frames, all of this stuff you can think about. You can say, okay, look here, and then you're pausing it. Right here, he can do this. But when you're doing that at bang, bang speed, 100 miles an hour, there's nobody on the face of this earth that can think that fast. Nor are they interested in thinking that fast. They're just doing what they've been taught, man. It's very unrealistic. And I see this being an issue that we're going to end up talking about for the rest of the season, as we should. Like, we should talk about it. Fans should talk about it. Coaches and players should keep talking about it until you beat a change out of them. They can be stubborn now because we're only 3 weeks into the season, but if this ruins the quality of the game throughout a whole season, they're going to know about it and they're going to reconvene at that table, hopefully.
If this matriculates down to the college game, I quit. All bets are off.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, so let's get into our final segment, which is our Pick 6 segment. We would love to pick and talk about what probably will end up as the best game of the week, but that's just our guess. But that game is already underway. It's already been kicked off. So we're going to talk about that Vikings versus Ram game very first thing on our next broadcast for next week's recap and preview for the week after. But right now we're going to do a Pick 6 that doesn't include the game of the week. Shame on us for being a little late with our broadcast. But let's go. First game up is the Bengals versus the Falcons. Now, the Falcons have, I think Devonta Freeman is a possibility. He's questionable at the moment. He might be back. The Bengals are in the same situation with Joe Mixon. He hasn't been practicing with the team, but he has been running and cutting, and he has said verbally that his knee feels great. So, we'll see if both of these teams get their starting running backs for a good battle. But let's rapid fire these Pick 6s. Fred, what do you see in this one? Who you got?
It's funny you say this one because I have both running backs from both teams. I have Devonta Freeman and
so you got to wait till like 12:55 to see who you're starting this week.
Exactly. I have both of these guys, but this Falcons
team, I have one of them.
Defensively, their defensive backs are just falling like flies, and offensively, this team can move the ball. They move the ball with the best of them. But defensively, yet again, this team reminds me this year so far of, you remember a couple of years ago where Matt Ryan was having to, this was like 2012, 2013, where Matt Ryan was just having to make incredible comebacks, and he'd get leads, and then he'd have to make some ridiculous Hail Mary at the end, and somehow they got all the way against.
It was the year that he earned his ICE nickname.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this team reminds me of right now. And the problem is, you got Julio. By the way, I got Julio Jones too on my fantasy team. I appreciate you, Julio Jones, last week. I'm not serious, but Julio Jones is capable of rolling double coverage his way at all times, which opens it up for Mohamed Sanu and Calvin Ridley. Ooh, Calvin Ridley might be a really good one. But I think this Bengals defense, their secondary is pretty good. William Jackson turned out to be a lot better than I thought he would be. Drake Kirkpatrick, another Alabama corner, who these Bama players seem like they might as well call it the Alabama FL, the Alabama Football League at some point with all these players. But this Bengals team isn't bad. They're not great until they get a better quarterback, but I think Andy Dalton can get it done. I'm going to take the Bengals in an upset, really, because the Falcons are 6-point favorites at this point. I'm taking the Bengals to upset on the road.
All right, you've said it all, and I was leaning towards the Bengals as well, but I'm going to go with Atlanta at home. My pick, it'll be bolstered if they do indeed get Devonta Freeman back into the mix. That will take Tevin Coleman back into a secondary role. He did great as the lead back, but to bring that depth back in the Atlanta backfield. So I'm gonna go with Atlanta at home. Next game up, we got your Patriots at 1-2 going in to see the Dolphins. The Dolphins are undefeated at this point, aren't they? 3-0.
Yes, they're
Miami
3-0.
Dolphins. I'll be very short with this one because I said something about it in the open. You have a Patriots team who right now their proverbial backs are against the wall, 1-2. We've seen this before. Every time it happens, people act like we haven't seen this before. I think the Dolphins are in for one. I got the Patriots. No doubt.
This one's in Gillette. The Patriots can't lose 3 in a row. This is a proverbial backs against the wall. A couple of years ago against the Chiefs, the Patriots lost on opening night. And then they lost again against the Bengals, and they said the sky was falling in New England. And then, they rolled on to 14 straight and won a Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl or anything, but when I look at this team, actually I predicted a Super Bowl, so I guess so. I mean, I am saying a Super Bowl happens. But the thing I need to see from this defense is they got to stop the run. They're so afraid of getting beat deep because the secondary is so young and inexperienced that they're giving up just big-time runs. And Frank Gore isn't the same Frank Gore he used to be, but Ryan Tannehill is a very good runner. So I know the best way you can beat Tom Brady is 2 ways. You run the ball, control the clock, and get first down, and you score points, and you keep the drives going, extended drives going. That's what the Lions did, and that's what the Jaguars did the last couple games. So if this defense can find a way to just get stops, you don't have to. You can give up 20, 28, 25, or 24 points, 28 points, but Brady has to be able to score that 35 points. Those 31, 35 points if you just want to be that type of team. I'm taking the Patriots to win this one. It's at home. The Patriots can't be 1-3, but they're only less than a touchdown favorite. That concerns me. The sky isn't falling in New England yet, but if they go 1-3, the sky is falling.
All right, we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. This game will be played in Denver. Chiefs come in at 3-0. Broncos 2-1, and this is the Monday nighter. The Chiefs' offense has basically been soaring out of control in the first 3 weeks of the season. Their second-year quarterback Patrick Mahomes has been amazing thus far. All weapons have been on display. The speed on the outside, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins. Then you got Travis Kelce, who is a top 2 tight end in the NFL, with Kareem Hunt in the backfield. We know what they're going to bring offensively, and I don't think Denver has enough offensively to match what's going to be going on the other side of the ball. So I got the Chiefs going in there and taking this. At some point in the season, the Chiefs are going to take that L, but I don't see it happening in Denver unless the mile high, unless they're affected by the altitude or something, but I don't see it happening this week.
I don't have any problems with the offense in Kansas City. It's the defense. Giving up 28, 37, and 27 respectively to the likes of the Chargers, Steelers, and 49ers.
And that's my thought. I just
don't
know if Denver can be the one to hang enough on them to win.
I don't think Denver will be able to hang enough on them or stop them enough. Maybe that'll happen in the next couple of weeks, but I'm taking the Chiefs in this one for the reasons you said, all these offensive weapons. This isn't your Broncos team that had just a ridiculous defense. Yeah, you got Von Miller. Yeah, you got Bradley Chubb. You got Chris Harris Jr. and Bradley Roby. Those are good players, but the way the Chiefs are playing, they're running it well, they're throwing it well, they're controlling the clock well. Defense can get a couple stops. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is score more points than the other team. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares at the end of the day. If you win the game, no one cares if it was 28-27. They just care about the W. And Andy Reid is the quarterback whisperer right now. Pat Mahomes might win the MVP. If tomorrow the MVP was given, I'd give it to Pat Mahomes all day, every day. And I'm trusting this guy until the wheels fall off. And I feel like I'm talking about a 15-year veteran right now, but he looks really good and he's exciting. Give me the Chiefs.
Well, too bad they don't do that in week 4. But all right, so let's rapid fire these last two because we got to get out of here. you got the Bucks going to see Khalil Mack. I mean, the Bucks playing against the Bears. We got the Bucks
the whole franchise
versus the Bears. This game will be played in Chicago. The Bucks come in at 2-1. Chicago comes in at 2-1. Fitzpatrick is basically playing for his job at this point because Jameis Winston will be suited up in uniform. But they're going to try to ride the quote-unquote hot hand of the Fitzmagic. And we're going to see, like, this is a test for them because Chicago, their defense, though young, is good on all three units. You know what I'm saying? Up front, the linebacking core, and the defensive backs. I don't think Fitzpatrick and the Bucks have faced a team yet where all three units, where, you know, they've played some teams that had some stellar units maybe up front or maybe had a stellar secondary, but they haven't played as complete of a defense as they're going to play this week. So it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do some of the things that they've done so far in the season. But I'm still going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go into Chicago and win this game. And it's obvious from what I just said that has no bearing on what I think about Chicago's defense. It's the other side of the ball that I don't fully trust. And if the Buccaneers can end up scoring, you know, a few points on the Bears' defense, Mitchell Trubisky is the one that I don't really trust quite yet. Like, we talked about it before. I've seen flashes with him, but I see a lot of inaccuracy, a lot of overthrowing open receivers, a lot of recklessness, a lot of just missing receivers who are running across the field wide open. I don't trust him yet, so I'm going to take the Bucs in this one.
Give me Tampa. Even if there is no Fitzmagic, there's going to be a bunch of eating W's and crab eating and Jameis Winston throwing it down the field and running around. If you tell me that Jameis isn't hyped for this game, this is his opener. Fitzmagic is going to end this weekend, and it's going to be. It may take a 14-point, deficit, but I think the Bucs will win this one in Chicago. It'll be close, but you'll see some Jameis action, and famous Jameis will be back, and all will be right with the world.
Well, Khalil Mack might make this very easy on the coach and just crush Fitzpatrick, and Jameis will have to come in.
Now he
might not even have to overthink this, Fred. When you're playing against Khalil Mack, you might want to have another quarterback ready anyway. All right, so last but not least, we're going to go this Saints versus the Giants. Now, this particular game will be played in New York. Saints come in with a record of 2-1, a couple of impressive late-game wins led by Drew Brees. A running Drew Brees. In his old age, he wants to scramble and break tackles and spin off of people. The Giants are 1-2. Still looking to break out of this rut that they've been in for the last season or so. Who you got in this one?
This one's tough because Eli isn't playing terrible, but when Drew Brees is playing like this, it's really hard to go against him. I'm going with the Saints in this one. The sheer explosiveness of this offense. You have Michael Thomas leading the league in receptions. He's a really productive receiver. This is going to be an offensive show. I think the Saints will have to find a way to get a stop or two. They'll find a way on the road. Drew Brees is going to keep shattering records week in and week out.
Yeah, and these are definitely two talented offenses. The difference being, it's hard for Eli to find anybody that's going to block for his ass. So if it becomes anything close to a shootout, I think that, Eli and the Giants' offense will fold first. And we all know about the late game prowess of one Mr. Drew Brees. So even if they keep it close going late into the game, we know how that might end up playing out. So I'm going to go to Saints as well, being a fan of a team in the NFC East. I hope the Saints win, but this is a head pick. It's not a hope pick. So I got the Saints as well. And there you have it, good people. That has been our Pick 6 segment. Those are the 6 games of the week that we chose to highlight in this week's episode. But look, catch us on Sunday. We're going to be sitting around watching all of these games. Fred, where can they catch you if they want to talk?
Well, you can catch me on Twitter, Fred Purdue CFB. I'm watching my Canes tonight. I'm also watching a little bit of college football on Saturday. You know, Ohio State. That's going to be where I'll be on Saturday. And, of course, I'll be watching my Patriots on Sunday. Maybe talk a little junk with you guys about your teams. But my back is against the wall this week, so I'm really going to have to be locked in.
Well, y'all can catch me on Twitter as well, at DevMacWR Sports. You can catch me on the War Room Sports Facebook page, Talking My Junk. You can catch me if you have the GroupMe app. Make sure you join the War Room Sports Game Time group in there. We talk games live as they're happening in there as well. So we'll be around. Make sure you find us. Make sure you catch us. Make sure you talk a little smack with us. This has been another episode of your favorite NFL show, Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue. I'm McMillan. That's my boy Purdue. Like we always tell you guys, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. And we'll see you chumps on time.
Going up to LaFell. Touchdown. The fake screen. Sanchez over the middle. Touchdown. Play action caught the wide open Sanzenbacher.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.